Good day, good people. Julia here. When I began writing back in 2000, I wrote every day. It was something that was so new to me. I was so curious. I was just like, what is this? This storytelling? What are these voices whispering into my ears? What are they saying? I want to know more about them. And so I spent every day writing. I would pack up, get ready for work, get there, open the laptop, and write. Forget work. What was work? And so I was constantly writing. When I became a corrections officer, I would be at the gun range and I would have a piece of chewing gum paper and I would actually write down on the paper different pieces of story. If I heard like a conversation in my head, I wrote that conversation, I wrote the dialogue. Whatever I had, I wrote on it. And it was just something that was just so consistent for me. Fast forward some years and I began to really write the stories in my head. I would formulate these thoughts, these ideas. I would get to know these characters who were talking to me, and then I would just write later. I would get the story, do my research, do what I needed to do, and then I would put everything down on paper. Well, though that was working, it wasn't, because I felt like, man, all these days are going by. Yeah, I'm telling these stories in my head, but I don't have it on the paper. And say, God forbid, something happens to me and all these stories appear, there's nothing to show for them. And so I said, what I want to do is I want to be consistent. And so for the month of February, I was doing the Daniel fast, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, God, I want you to do all these things for me. I know this sounds a little selfish, like you work for me, but it wasn't like that. It was just like, just having this conversation and having this desire, the things that I wanted God to work on in me. So writing consistently was one of those things. And so I started the fast on February 15th. So I said, I want to write 100 words a day. So that's what I was going to do. I was going to move the current novel that I'm working on. I was going to move it in 100-word increments. Now, mind you, I could write more than 100 words. So I said at least write 100 words. So I was going to move a story along in 100-word increments. But instead of doing that, I decided to challenge myself even more. So I said, let me write 100-word stories over the course of 100 days. So it could be 100 words or less, but no more than 100 words. And I had to write every single day for 100 days. So today is day 19, and I have really enjoyed this process. What I do is I take a picture, something that, my own photography. I'll use an image, and I'll look at that image, and whatever story comes to mind, that's what I write. I don't think about it. I don't plot it out. I don't plan. I don't do anything. I just freestyle it based off of what I see when I look at this picture, or what I hear, or what I feel when I look at this picture. And so I have thoroughly enjoyed this process. And yeah, it's like, oh, I got 71 more days to go. Am I counting right? No, I think it's 81. I have 81 more days to go. What else am I going to write about? How am I going to do this? Am I going to be able to do it? And I'm just going to take it day by day. And so along with writing it, I have them posted on my blog. I also said what I wanted to do was do an audio to the stories. And so I've been reading the stories. I'll use the picture and then I'll just read. It's just a still picture and I'll just read the story. And so on YouTube, you can only, I think if it's under a certain amount of time, they use it as a short. So what I said I wanted to do was take 5 stories and make a video. Excuse me. Take 5 stories and make a video. Take 5 stories and make a video. So that's what I decided to do. And so we're starting the 100 days of stories with days 1 through day 5. And I hope you enjoy these stories, and maybe even I can inspire you in some way to challenge yourself, to give yourself some kind of personal challenge in whatever it is that you do, whatever your craft is, whatever it is you want to do in life or a project you're working on, to challenge yourself in some kind of way to do something different and see what it produces for you. Enjoy 100 Days of Stories.
Every evening, as the sun begins to set, I walk by the farm to see a friend. As always, she's in the distance, waiting, watching, but never coming close. Today's different. She approaches, her mane moves with the breeze. This is the closest she's ever been. Her eyes dive into mine, her breath's urgent. She knows. And I want her to know everything. Everything. Her nostrils flare as she breathes in the things I've done. I must go, but I'll come back tomorrow. Give her more of my secrets. Then maybe, just maybe, she'll know everything and set me free. Parked in front of a building, she sat contemplating. An unfamiliar feeling had come over her. Another job interview, another, "We'll be in touch." Lies, all lies. She was tired of detached promises. The idle ignition prompted her to shift to reverse. What if I put the car in drive and slam into this wall? She wondered. Boom! It would all be over. Then a tap on the window. "I hope to catch you before you drove off," the human resources coordinator said. "Can you start tomorrow?" All she could do was nod, take a deep breath, and exhale. "You quit your job?" "Yup." I look at my wife of 13 years, see furrowed brows and downturned lips. Disappointed yet again. Nothing new. "I don't get it." Allison gives me her back as she looks out the window. Not focused on anything, just not on me. We're facing each other again. Allie folds her arms, shakes her head. What's to get? I quit. End of story. The palm of her hand lands on my jaw without remorse. Eyes flash in front of me like they never knew me. Thanks for making this easy. And out the door she goes. Lightning zigzags across the sky. Thunder rumbles in the distance. Ominous clouds roll over the community and turn the light skies into night. Lights flicker inside the house. One by one, my neighbors' homes grow dark. Elmo, my golden doodle, whimpers and scurries behind the sofa. I grab my cell phone off the coffee table to call my husband. Rick went to his favorite pier to fish, despite the warnings of the impending storm. "I'm on my way home," he says. 1, 2, 3 hours pass with no Rick. A knock is at the door. It's the police. She climbed through the trees and ran for her life. The figure dressed in black chased her, a blade in his gloved hand. Nothing but trees and more trees. She didn't know where she was or where she was running. She ran and ran and ran. He chased and chased and chased. Something ahead caught her attention. It sparkled in the sky and comforted her. She ran until she recognized it was a cross, a church. She heard singing in the distance, their voices growing closer. Tears stung her eyes as her hands pushed open the doors. Saved.